Hey, what's going on, guys? Bot Mentality here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about this term I use, the concept of soaking. When a stock is soaking, or the bid is soaking. That's a lot of the terms I'll use in chat, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about it because I think it'll help some of you guys in spotting this in the future. And I keep seeing this repetition of that soaking occur, and there's been some pretty sweet plays over the past couple weeks where you can take advantage of this. So we'll jump into it. If you've watched my video on the ABCD pattern, it does align with that a lot. There's a lot of similarities, but I think of soaking as an action that occurs. It's a behavior of the stock that leads into forming that ABCD pattern versus it just them being the exact same thing. So all right, guys, we'll jump into it, and I'll include a little bit of a trade recap in here as well, and you'll see some areas I could have improved on. So the first stock I want to show you where I saw soaking occur was in Uber. So in Uber, as you know, it was a recent IPO. We go to the daily. You can see where it IPO'd up here around $42, chopped around here 44, and it's just been selling off since August. Just lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Was recently accelerated into that earnings report where we bottomed out, made a move from the $26 back up to 30, and that's what I want to talk about. So let's jump back here into the past 20 days. You'll see the sell-off down from 34. We put in a low here at 25.50. Now, because this is a recent IPO, zoom out a little bit. These 25.50s, this is all-time lows for the stock. So we don't have any chart history really to reference except for recent pivot lows, right? So keep that in mind. When we get this first pullback to 25.50, this is all-time lows. No one knows where this stock's going to go. It could just keep going down to $20. Who knows? But what I want you to see is the soak. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'm going to zoom into this particular time frame right here. We got that initial pullback here to $25.58. You see that long lower wick? When we saw the huge gap down here from $28 and an open here, there at right here at 26.40s, it was looking pretty bad, but we saw a lot of supply come in the market, and immediately it was bought back up. All that supply was bought right back up. So that wick would be a soak of the 25.50s. We were talking about this day live in chat because a lot of us were looking to trade Uber. But so that's the first thing I want you to reference. We put in the all-time low, and it was immediately bought back up. It didn't come down here. We chop around a little bit, and then it slowly started to curl back up. No, it was immediately bought back up within the first hourly candle, right? So we see some more price action put in over the next couple days. We see that we found resistance there at that 27.70 level. We saw a pullback here. It's looking bad now, right? It's looking bear flaggish. We saw a green day put in, then we saw it slowly sell off here into the red, and then we got the gap down and flush. So after this move, this is when we think that we would see more bearish control, right? Where we'd go ahead and wash out. Remember that 25.50 soak? Well, now we're seeing a bounce off of this 26 level again. So it's like, okay, maybe it might take a little bit more time. Go from the 26 back up here to double top that previous resistance, and then we roll over again. So now we have a double top, and we're looking at this low to see if that low will hold, and it doesn't hold, right? We do get a bounce under that, and then an immediate on the next day, immediate wash down to that previous 25.50s level I was talking about here. So what we saw was a double top. We saw a break of the previous low, and it looks like we held it. It looks like, okay, the bulls recovered it, and immediately we sold off the next day back into these lows. This is where we should see the stock roll over and die, honestly. Okay, what's keeping this thing up? But we see that wick, and then we see a close, and then a gap open. So this right here would be that soak move I'm talking about. We got back down to those 25.50s, 25.60s area, and immediately the price action was soaked, right? All that supply was soaked, dried up, and then we immediately started that curl that next day, right? So as you can see, if we zoom out here and we look at that time frame, after we saw that second soak, the stock never looked back. We put in a higher low the next day, higher low the following day, another higher low, and then we ripped to the upside. So that soak of that 25.50s, 25.60s was a big tell towards where this initial day here, that 25.50 soak, that was a huge tell towards where the support would be in the future and where to look for that hard support. And if the price action soaked it again, you can see what followed that, right? On this day, when we got the initial yank and it got bought right back up, I remember sending a message to chat and I was just like, guys, I am not shorting this. That was a massive soak. And I'm glad I didn't, because we immediately went, straight back up here towards the over the 2730s, right? So that's the first sign of a soak. This isn't the cleanest example, but I wanted to show you that because Uber has been killing it on that move back to 30. When you see that if you were short into here, you definitely were up green on this pullback. But when you saw that second soak in the whole of the 2550s, especially into the close, that was your warning sign to get out. So that's Uber. Let's talk about Roku next. And this is where I'll be able to talk a little bit about the trade I made on it today. So on Roku, we saw... I'll zoom out a little bit. Remember, we had the 176 all-time high, huge sell-off. Everyone thought this stock was dead. Immediate rally back to the 150. We got the sell-off down and the gap down because of disappointing earnings, quote unquote. And then we ripped from 118 all the way up to 165 in a matter of like 7 straight green days. It was insane. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight green days, up to the 164. I'm gonna go here to the 10-day. And I want to show you this soak. So we saw the straight green trend up here to the 165, gap down, sell off, and immediately the price action was bought right back up. Right back up. Once we cracked below this 150, just look at that red line. That's like the 150, 160. That red line. Once we got below that red line, the price was bought right back up. And it bought right back over it. Now, it took a while. It took an hour. It took like 2 hours for us to get back over. So that's not the quickest soak, but that's the level you want to keep your eye on, the 150. Why? Because it's a whole $0.50 mark. You know how price action reacts around significant psychological levels. And we got bought right back off that 150. The next day, we got the open, and look what happened on that 150. Same thing again. We touched it, went to touch the 150, got bought right straight up. And then we rolled over here and we saw that higher low put in. So this is that soaking action I'm talking about. When we see a supply come into a significant support area and it's bought right off it very quickly. The following day here, we saw stuff there in that 162, tried to roll over. But what's important here is ever since this double soak of that 150 area and this intraday wick here, we've been seeing daily higher lows. See, look, the next day, higher low. Next day, higher low compared to this previous low. The next day, higher low, right? And this soaking action and this slow uptrend is what led to this breakout and move here that we saw today over that 166. It was all because of this soaking of the 150s. After such a strong bull trend, you would think after coming from the 116 all the way up to the 160, you would think that after all that time, we would need a significant pullback. I'm not talking from 165 down to 147. I'm talking from 165 down to like 130, right? 135 at least. But we just saw a brief soak of the 150 twice. And from that day, we've seen the lows of day soaked. Every time it looked like we were about to roll over and collapse and snap the 150, the price action was bought back up. You can see that right here. So this is an example of the soaking action I wanted to talk about. As far as my trade on it today, I'll just throw that in right here. This was these 10 Roku 175 calls. I bought them for next week's expiration here at the open. Because we saw the soak, we saw the extremely strong day here yesterday. I'll zoom out a little bit here just to show you. We saw all this soaking action. We saw the extremely strong day yesterday. The high prints today, I was looking to get long as we were over that 166, looking for that move up to 170 and hopefully a breakthrough 170. So this morning, what happened on the open was, zoom in here, happened on the open here. We got the open, this yank here to 166. I immediately got long on those calls. I bought 10 of the 175 calls for next week. I got them for $3.50. They ripped up immediately. I was up about $800 here at the top, as they were worth about $3.85 at the top here. But I had a break-even risk on them. I was holding them. I was being too patient because I really wanted to see this go for that 170, and it looked like we were going to do it. But as you can see, supply got the best of it, and it's just been nothing but down since. So what ended up happening was when we got this flush back down through VWAP and we bounced and rejected, I ended up taking them off and I got out for break-even. So I broke even on those Roku calls after being up $800. Now the last, let's see where we're at, 9 minutes, 54 seconds. The last soak I want to talk about here was a trade I made on Square. So if you'll look on Square, same thing, really strong uptrend. You would think that we would see a pullback, a significant pullback and a washout towards that, let's just say, 65 at least after we got this move up here to 69 and rejected. But we didn't get that. I'm going to go to the 5-day. We saw this breakout here over the 68. Notice how many times we tried to get over 68 and we couldn't do it. Not there, not here, not here, not here until this break. So immediately I'm going to take this, I'm going to draw a line at that, let's just say 68 price action, that 68 level. So here on SQ, we got the gap up here, ripped over 68, and then we tried to get to that 69.50 level, get over that, and we rejected it, sold off, a heavy sell into the close. We gave it all back. The next day, gap up. Looks like we're going to go for it again. We see a rejection below that, sell off, and then look at this pivot low. That 68 was supported the first day. It was supported the second day. We bounced, sold off again. Looks like we're going to get under that 68. The second we get under 68, it's bought right back up, and then we move back up to the upside to have a strong close. So you see, I'm already going to say that's a soak of the 68 the first day, the second day, and again the second day. So we saw that push back up here. A sell-off here into the open today. We opened down, sold off to 68.40s. We're seeing that higher low put in. Push up here to 69.20. Pull back to 68.60, another higher low, back over VWAP. As soon as we got back over VWAP, I recognized, just like on Uber and on Roku, we're seeing significant soaking of the 68 area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could say 5 attempts for the supply to roll this thing over. It didn't work. And we saw it get bought back above VWAP. So I went ahead and got long here over VWAP. It was right around 68.95, 69. It was right here in this area. I went ahead and got long on this. I scooped up on Square about 20 to 70 calls, 85 cents each for next week's expiration, and got into these right around here. And as you can see, consistent higher lows because of that heavy soaking action we saw off the 68 in that 68 area. And we went straight up here, and I just stopped out here on this pullback when we rejected here around this same 69.50 area. I went ahead and just took it off for just a quick scalp. Now, as you'll see, we're still going, guys. We are holding up. We saw a brief pullback here to that 69.40 bounce, made new high on the day, and it's very possible we see continuation up to that 70. But we're 40 minutes out. The market's closed tomorrow, and it's a short day on Friday. So I don't mind just going ahead and taking those quick profits, especially after the fact that on Roku, I was up $800 this morning, and I was patient on it, too patient on it, and we saw it sell off, and I had to take break even, and I'm glad I did because I'd be down thousands if I was still holding right now. But that was my trade on SQ, and I just wanted to kind of throw in the whole soaking bit there. I hope that really helped you guys and was informative for you. I'll be keeping an eye on XQ in the next week for sure. And of course, when I sold these Square 70 calls, I ended up, making a 15-cent spread on those. So I sold them at $1, and I made $300 on those. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll be having some more trade recaps coming to the future. If this made sense for you, let me know. If it didn't, and you need me to go into more detail on the differences between soaking and stuffing, let me know in the comments. I don't mind doing that. But I just wanted to kind of throw in this trade recap in addition to talking about my soaking philosophy and give examples of that in the chart. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. Continue to stay focused on developing that bot mentality, which is that trading mentality where you learn to eliminate your emotions so you can trade like a machine, guys. I'm out of here. Deuces.